Today I'm going to talk about how creative does the targeting with Facebook ads. And building upon that, you've maybe heard a lot of people talk about how going broad with creative doing the targeting is the way to go, which I agree with. But there's still people today who will try going broad, targeting with the creative, and find that their interests or their lookalikes are doing better than broad, and they kind of give up and revert to that, okay? So even if you are doing interest targeting or lookalike targeting, creative still within that does the targeting within that audience. That's a separate thing, which we'll look at next. But I just want to address that opinion that, broad doesn't work for me, the thing people always say, okay? Because I think over a long enough time span, with enough scale, broad is always going to beat lookalikes and interests. This is something I've seen played out time and time again. Taking on accounts that are using interests, I know that, hey, I'm not going to beat them straight away because there's machine learning and they do work, they do get good performance, but they are a finite resource. They're only as big as the audience, and Meta remove them as well, so they're high risk. So with enough time, with enough scale, broad always overtakes them in my experience, okay? And here's an example of this in place. So I'm going to show you some tier 11 clients today, which is the agency that I work for, running the client accounts when I run the client accounts, or the big ones anyway. And here we have two different campaigns, okay? So here I have my evergreen campaign that this has actually been running probably about 2 years. But what had happened was the client keeps an eye on a certain newsletter, and this newsletter had said that, hey, here's some strategy we're doing with lookalikes. Lookalikes are working again for us. And that client, showed this to me and said, I want to try lookalikes again, okay? So even though I don't agree with using them, and I know the situation that happened was going to play out, client relationships, sometimes you just have to test these things. It's their money. If they want to test it, we'll test it for them, okay? But we'll try and educate and push back. But in this instance, I had to basically just run it to keep the peace, okay? So you can see here, the bottom one is the lookalike campaign. It is this color on the graph, and the evergreen one is the orange color, okay? So the first thing to keep in mind, this lookalike one was spending $140 a day. The evergreen campaign is 10 times the size. It's our main campaign. Or no, it's not actually the main campaign. It's the main campaign for this product. And it was spending $1,400 a day. Okay, so it's much bigger budget, which means it's not acting the same. It's going to have to go out to more broad people because it's got bigger scale. So even with that start, lookalikes are going to get a better chance. They should have better performance because they have to operate in a smaller pool of people, okay? So that's the first thing, and sure enough, it starts off better as completely, I expected there was a high chance that would happen. So for the first 3 weeks, or first 2 weeks, that's the case. It's significantly better than the broad one in terms of ROI, but it's not as scaled. So who knows if it would be as scalable. But then as we keep going, it starts to come down in performance and match the broad. But then it gets a second boost. This is like a LA1, lookalike 1% audience. So it gets a boost around Christmas time, probably people Christmas shopping, feeding into the algorithm, going, hey, there's more people buying. I can find a lot more people in market because it's that time of year. And the lookalike does well. After that period though, it comes down again. There's this inflection point where it's now worse performance than the broad. But remember, the broad is spending $1,400 a day. This is only spending $140. So the fact that it's better performance and spending so much more scaled means it's just way better. It's having to do more work, bringing colder people, and it's still outperforming the lookalike, which should be just having to get a lot more warm people, okay, and benefiting from that. So the lookalike's worse for 3 weeks, and then I eventually pause it. My hypothesis has been proven, and I can go back to using that budget for other things, okay? So that's that played out. This is what happens if over a long enough time period. It might literally be 6 months, it might be a year. Your broad audiences is always going to work better than lookalikes and interest, okay? So the other thing that people talk about though is creatives doing the targeting. And I've got another video where I go into detail about this and I show you all the different ways, and I explain why they're doing the targeting and how you can make creative target. different things like age, gender, placement, interest. There's a couple more. But what I want to talk about today and show you today is how you can use creative to basically expand your audience, reach colder people, and have a roster of creative doing different things, okay? Hitting people at different stages of their customer journey. So in the ad sets, the media buyer can target all these things. So can the creative if you're going broad targeting. But the one thing that the media buyer can't do, which only the creative can do, is target different awareness levels of audiences. So people at a different stage of their customer journey, a different awareness of your product or your brand, right? And these are all Eugene Schwartz's 5 levels of awareness, which is basically people who are unaware of what you're selling, people become or they have a problem. People become aware they have a problem, but they don't know the solution. Your product, probably the solution. People who are aware of the solution, maybe they don't know your brand. And then people who are aware of your product, your brand. And then people who are most aware, the people who are your current customers. This is probably not the best triangle because I don't use these specific ones. I use unaware, problem aware, solution aware, brand aware, and customers. But I couldn't be bothered fishing out my one, so I just pulled one from Google basically, okay? But yeah, that's what they all are. And yes, before some smart arse comes up, you can use custom audiences. You could target people who have visited your website, who are engagers of your Instagram, so you know they are warm, but you don't really know if they viewed the specific product you're talking about. Yes, okay, fine. If you targeted the actual page, you know they've looked at your product, but what does that mean? They might have gone on your website, been interrupted and left straight away, so they're not actually solution aware. They've just problem aware and they visited your website, then got interrupted because it was loading too slow or something, okay? The only way you can really target these people is with the creative and the messaging in that creative, okay? And I'm gonna show you this played out in an actual example. So here's another account from Tier 11. And if we look at this is inside the campaign, the same way I run all the campaigns, using dynamic creative or flex ads, testing them within the campaign and then pinning the winners. You'll see here that I have a whole roster of 5 different creatives. There's 5 because we're at massive scale. There's 300K spent in the last 30 days. It was higher before. We scaled back a bit because of seasonality. But these are doing different things, and that's why I need all 5 of them. It's not a case of this one's spending the most or these 2 are spending the most, so I should turn off these. These are doing different things, okay? So let's take a look into what these creatives actually are and what they're doing. So we'll filter by spend. You can see this one here, 130K. This is by far the higher spending one. But interestingly enough, it's actually got the highest NCAC, so new customer cost to acquire a new customer. And you'd be like, well, if you're looking at platform, why is Cameron running this creative that's got double the NCAC of this one? Well, because it's doing something different. I'm looking at top line. I'm looking at how this works as a unit. If I turned off these two creatives, the NCACs on these shoot up past these, or the overall shoots up past this, and we have to scale right back because this is how we've scaled. We've scaled by adding new creatives that fulfill a different purpose, can target different awareness levels, and bring new people in at a good cost, and allow the whole funnel to grow, allow these creatives to also scale up because these ones are bringing in new people who are a bit colder, okay? So these top ones here, you can see their videos, and I have in the name level 2, level 3. This is basically just how I assign a naming convention to these, where are they? These awareness levels. So this is level 1, this is level 5, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this video is targeting people who are problem aware and solution aware, like it could be relevant to both. This one is more problem aware people. These 2 are just, and these are 2 videos. These 2 are images, but they're literally just images of the product in situ. The product is a firearms case for going to the gun range. It doesn't even show the brand. It just shows the product and some photographs. No text, no nothing. So obviously if you're unaware of you having a problem, if you're unaware of the problem, you don't know the solution, that's not going to be very relevant to you. You don't know what this is. You know it's obviously something for guns, but what we have a lot of people will comment is, when we just had these as the top creatives, they'd comment, why would I want, or if I put my guns in that, people are going to steal my guns. They thought the product was a gun safe, but that's not the intended use case of the product. The intended use case of the product is for travel. So you're not going to make it out of steel and have a combination lock and chained to some wall where people can't steal it. That's not the purpose. It's always on your body. It's in your car. It's from going from your house to the range. And being at the range, it might be an outdoor range, keeping your firearms protected from the elements, water, dust, and organized so that you can use them effectively in the range, okay? That is the purpose of the creative. That's the purpose of, the creative, the product. So people who are solution aware are the only going to be people that are going to respond to those creatives. So there's a lot lower spend on them because that's a lot lower amount of people. We're bringing in cold people with these, warming them up a bit, converting them with these, and it's working as a machine together. And I can prove that in this. This is data suite from tier 11, which gives you the percentage new visits of each of the creatives. So these are arranged in order. You can see here's the response overhead, unboxing, and then the images, okay? What's the percentage of this that's bringing in new people? 33%. The highest percentage is this video. Highest spend, highest percentage of it is bringing in new people to the brand. Next one, next biggest spend, 31%, 30%, 29%, 24%. This one's not bringing anywhere near as many people. It's more converting cold traffic, but it's getting us a very low NCAC, NCPA. So we're keeping it in the roster because it's good. It was intended, that's this one here. It was intended to prospect and bring in people. It's not fulfilling that function. It's not getting enough spend. The meta doesn't want to give it more spend to go to more people for whatever reason, but it's actually doing a very good job at converting people with a low NCAC. So we're keeping it as part of our roster, okay? And these two spend, this is very interesting. These two are basically the same creative. It's just this is in the product in color black. This is the product in color green. Black is the best-selling product color. Green is the second best-selling product color. Black sells twice as many as green. Look here, twice as much spend as this one. I'm not setting the budgets. That is the algorithm fully doing that based on everything it knows about the people and the market and how many people of the audience it brings in are going to want to buy black. How many are probably going to be more interested in green. However it's doing that, maybe they look at the black and don't buy and it goes, hey, probably if I show them the green, this particular person is likely to buy based on all their Instagram photos they've ever posted and all their stories. I know this is the kind of colors they have products in. This is the color of their, I don't know, their other firearm case, whatever it may be. Creative does the targeting, okay? So yeah, I hope that is useful and shows you some evidence of this. It's a big subject. I'll go into it more, but thanks for watching and see you in another video very, very soon.